Guys, should Congress be banned from stock trading? Have you ever asked yourself, how is it legal that members of Congress are allowed to buy and sell stocks on the stock market when those same members of Congress are responsible for passing laws? Laws that deal with the regulation of the companies and the fact that some of these Congress members, or who they call lawmakers, they know stuff that the rest of us may not have privy to or may not know. And so you can almost say that they know what's going to happen to the price of a stock because they may have some information about a company beforehand. They know about all the regulations and they have access to more information than your average person. So should these Congress members be banned from stock trading? As of 2024, guys, the wealthiest members of Congress include Rick Scott. Now, Senator Rick Scott is a Republican from Florida. He has an estimated net worth ranging from $300 million to $500 million. And his wealth is primarily from being the co-founder of what you have probably heard of, HCH Healthcare. And then, of course, you have Representative Nancy Pelosi. Well, who is Nancy Pelosi? Her net worth is around $250 million as of the recording of this video. And she's got major investments in technology and Apple, Microsoft. Her husband is some type of venture capitalist, so he has lots of wealth. But she's a Democrat from the state of California. And then, of course, you got a Republican from the state of Utah, Mitt Romney, whose wealth is estimated somewhere around $230 million because of his investments in, Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs mutual funds and all this good stuff. Then, of course, you got Mr. Dan Goldman, who's a Democrat from New York, right? He's an heir to the Levi Strauss company that we've all heard of. And he has an estimated net worth of somewhere around $190 to $250 million. And then you have Mark Warner, who is also a Democrat from the state of Virginia with an estimated net worth of around $215 million. Now, these figures that I gave you are from various sources like Quiver, Quantitative, and Bloomberg, right? All this stuff is out there in the public for us to know. But these are members of Congress, the top 5 wealthiest right now. 3 are Democrats, 2 are Republicans. So this isn't a right thing or a left thing or a liberal thing or a conservative thing, right? All these people are wealthy, right? The question is this a conflict of interest? While, we have a lot of Americans that are feeling like they're struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, we've got Congress members that are living high on the hog. Now, don't get me wrong. The average Congress member is somewhere around $500,000 to $750,000 in terms of net worth. But these are just 5 of the richest that are in Congress between the Senate and the House. Now, let's check out this quick article, guys. It says former members join the chorus calling to end congressional stock trading. Now, all of this is important and sort of came to a head just yesterday because the current President Biden, who's on his way out, has called for a ban on congressional stock trading. So let's flip back over real quick to this article to see why President Biden has all of a sudden come out towards the end of his term to actually support the possible banning of Congress members buying stocks while they're Congress members. This article is dated back in September of this year, just a couple of months ago. It says former members joined the chorus calling an end to congressional stock trading. And this is a letter to Senate leadership from ex-lawmakers or former Congress members urging some type of law be put in place. And I'm just going to go over a few points on this, guys. Remember, this is leading up to the article from yesterday, and we'll get to that article in just a moment. It says a group of former members of Congress wants action before the end of this session on legislation barring lawmakers from owning or trading individual stocks. The former lawmakers, organized by Issue One, which is a Washington-based political reform group, sent a letter to Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer and Minority Leader Mitch McConnell calling for a floor vote on a proposal that advanced out of committee in July. Specifically, the group calls for the legislation to be tacked on to any must-pass package Congress will take up in the waning days of the 118th Congress. Members of Congress are public servants, said Zach Wamp, not sure how to pronounce his last name. He said, we want to uphold public service and we want to be more aspirational in what that means. I think it says he's a Tennessee Republican who served in the House from 1995 to 2011. Now, get it. These are all former Congress members who are now no longer in Congress saying, hey, looking back and saying, hey, let's make sure we pass some legislation so these guys that are currently in Congress can't actually participate in trading stocks. So it's kind of odd, but they're looking backwards, right? It says WAMP is one of more than 40 former members and officials who signed the letter. Schumer and McConnell didn't immediately respond. Remember, this is a couple of months ago, guys. This issue picked up intensity in the early days of the pandemic when a series of questionable trades by Congress members, anytime you see lawmakers, that's Congress members, who've been briefed on the global health emergency, drew attention from the public. So this all came to a head big time during the pandemic when you had lawmakers making moves with their stocks, having information that maybe the rest of us didn't have available to us, right? And let me skip down to right here, guys. This is an important point. It says federal law already prohibits members from trading on non-public information and mandates the public disclosure of assets. But critics argue that the 2012 law lacks teeth, and we're going to talk about that law in just a minute. Its punishments are basically trivial if applied at all, and members of Congress have continued to participate in the stock market in large numbers. More than half of all reps and senators own stocks in the 117th Congress, according to Campaign Legal Center analysis. The bipartisan proposal that was made up by these 40 ex-lawmakers advanced out of a committee this summer would significantly tighten existing rules. And then it goes on to say that Senator Mitt Romney, remember, he's one of the richest in Congress, the Republican from Utah, who is one of the wealthiest senators, and he is not seeking re-election. He came out in September and said the bill was too harsh, that 2012 law that we're going to talk about, and it could disincentivize qualified candidates to run for office. Reamer, like Romney, called the bill punitive, but he said he didn't have concerns that it would turn away prospective public servants. So I just wanted to give you a little backdrop. This happened just a couple of months ago, and now we look at the most recent article or information that came out yesterday about what Biden's going to say down the road. Let me just kind of go through this real quick. Biden calls for a ban on congressional stock trading. Now, the article says President Biden endorsed a ban on congressional stock trading in an interview that's being released later this week, weighing in on an issue that has been debated on Capitol Hill for many years. And Biden said nobody in Congress should be able to make money in the stock market while they're in Congress. The interview was conducted by Faiz Shakir, a political advisor for Senator Bernie Sanders, and it was published by A More Perfect Union, which is a pro-labor advocacy and journalism organization. It's unclear what impact Biden's statement could have coming only a month before his term actually ends. The Democratic President Biden spoke to Shakir about his economic legacy, which includes supporting unions, investing in clean energy, and so forth. But Shakir also asked about congressional stock trading. And it goes on to give that other example I just gave from the last article about when the pandemic hit, some Congress people bought and sold millions of dollars worth of stock after being briefed on the virus. It said a bipartisan proposal to ban trading by members of Congress and their families has dozens of sponsors, but it has not received a vote. Although lawmakers are required to disclose stock transactions exceeding $1,000, they're routinely late in filing notices, and sometimes they don't file at all, and they don't have any punishment in place for them. Let me say this, guys. In general, anyone in America can buy and sell stocks. Insider trading that we're afraid of for Congress members usually refers to somebody with material, non-public information about a company's finances, who also are either a corporate insider or has some sort of confidential relationship with a corporate insider. Now, you can argue, and I would probably argue that some of these Congress members do have confidential relationships with corporate insiders, right? But we also got to remember that members of Congress are not and never really have been legally allowed to engage in what's known as insider trading, right? They shouldn't be. However, simply trading because you may expect Congress to vote in a certain way, that may or may not represent insider trading, right? But I tell you what, it looks suspicious. And I know just by working in the federal government, that the perception of a conflict of interest is never a good thing, right? Now, some would argue that congressional legislation affects all forms of assets, unless we made a rule that people in Congress can't have any assets at all, right? It's almost impossible. You could argue that it's almost impossible to make it so that no congressperson is able to legislate on anything that affects their own personal wealth. That may be really, really hard to do. And it may not be really possible to do it, right? unless we totally wiped out all trading for all Congress members while they're actually in Congress. And going back to that law that they talked about in those articles, up until 2012, it was pretty much legal for Congress members to trade stocks and buy stocks, sell stocks based on their knowledge that they gained through their membership in Congress until 2012, when what's called the Stock Act came about. And the Stock Act, STOCK is an acronym for Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act. And it's just a law that was enacted in 2012 to stop or prohibit Congress members and their staff and any other federal officials from using non-public information for insider trading. And basically, it was set up to require more transparency by basically mandating, making it law that you must disclose financial transactions and investments within 45 days if you're a member of Congress. And the act was said to try to promote this accountability and, like I said, transparency and prevent any of these conflicts of interest. Now, in 2024, guys, just to be clear, we have 535 voting members of the U.S. Congress. That's 100 senators and 435 House of Representative members. And as of 2024, you also may want to know that for most of the members of the U.S. Congress, their base salary is $174,000 a year. Now, if you're in leadership in Congress, let's say you're a Speaker of the House or you're a majority leader or a minority leader, you're going to get paid a little bit more. But these salaries of $174,000 per year for most Congress members, it was set in law back in 2009 and has not been increased since then. So this Stock Act of 2012 is there. It's in place to kind of cut out some of this conflict of interest that we see with Congress members buying and selling stocks. But still today, we see that that law is not really enforced the way it should be. And today, about half of all Congress members are millionaires as we speak. A law is only a law if it's enforced. And this law from 2012 is not being enforced like it should be. What do you guys think? Give me your idea what you think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Congress members should just totally not be allowed to buy and sell stocks? Or should they be allowed to buy and sell stocks because they're just a member of society like all of us? Let me know what you think about that, guys. Are you in favor of this proposal that we make tighter, stricter rules? Or should we just actually enforce the law that's on the books right now? And that's plenty. Let me know what you think. Big shout out to my partner on this video, Mint Mobile. Check out the link in the description box below for the ultimate in premium wireless services. I'm a user and a fan of Mint Mobile. Hey, I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think about this topic in the comments below. The best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, do me a favor, take good care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.